Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm showing you how to make delicious stuffed bell peppers, and I love how versatile these can be. You can make them vegan, you can make them vegetarian if you're adding a little bit of cheese. You can add some ground beef for some added protein. I'm making them the more traditional Greek way. In Greek they're called yemista, which means stuffed. And so I'm gonna do half of them, I'm gonna make them vegetarian, and half I'll make them with ground beef. This is a delicious recipe that makes really good stuffed bell peppers and then also gives you amazing leftovers. The full recipe will be down in the link below on the blog, and I hope you give it a try.
Start by chopping your garlic and setting it aside. You're going to want to roughly chop the onion. I'm going to put everything in the food processor. That's why I'm chopping all my ingredients roughly. But if you don't have a food processor, you can just finely chop everything by hand. After you finally chopped your onion and your garlic, you're going to heat up a large pot and add a good amount of olive oil at the bottom and start sauteing your onions. Don't add your garlic just yet, just because the garlic burns a lot quicker than onions, so I always like to saute my onions first and then add the garlic. Because I'm making these stuffed peppers both vegetarian and with some ground beef, I have a separate saucepan where I'm sauteing some of the onions that I chopped up with some olive oil, and I'll be browning the ground beef in that saucepan and then adding it to the final rice mixture at the end. As your onions are sauteing, start by roughly chopping your parsley, and feel free to add the stems as well. These add a lot of flavor and we don't like to waste anything. I also added the mint leaves at this point. The parsley and the mint really impart a nice freshness to the dish. It's now time to hull out the bell peppers, and I really like to use the whole pepper or any vegetable really that you might be stuffing. So I start by cutting and removing the top of the bell pepper. Don't throw this out because you can just place it on top of the rice after you've done stuffing your bell peppers. Then clean out the inside of the bell pepper, removing that soft ribbing on the inside. Add that to your food processor. And then you want to also clean out the seeds. One way you can go about this is to scrape them into a little bowl, or you can remove the seeds under running water. This will make things a little easier because they tend to stick to your fingers and get all over the place. After you remove your seeds, cut the stem off the pepper, and there's also a little bit of soft tissue right at the very top of the pepper, so you can just trim that off and add it to your food processor for added flavor. Today I'm not stuffing the zucchini, I will just be using it to add into the mixture, the veggie and rice mixture. So I'm going to peel my zucchini and add it into the food processor as well. Chop everything up so it's nice and finely chopped, and then add that mixture into your sauteed onions as well as your garlic. Don't discard whatever's left in the food processor. You can put water into that and use it for added flavoring when you're boiling your rice. We're really not wasting anything today with this recipe. I like to give my rice a little bit of a rinse, and then I add it to my pot with the onion and the parsley mixture and start sauteing everything a little bit more, and you can feel free to add some more olive oil at this point too. I'm also starting to brown my ground beef. In the rice mixture, you want to add either some crushed tomatoes or some tomato sauce. Don't want it to be too tomatoey, but you do want some of that tomato sauce in there. I happen to have had leftover tomato sauce from another recipe, so I just added that in. I'm adding a generous amount of salt and pepper, and then instead of using just plain water to add to my pot for the rice, I'm using that water that I use to rinse out the food processor where I have all that yummy parsley and mint and zucchini flavor inside. Let the rice cook for a few minutes so that way when the stuffed peppers go into the oven, you don't have to worry if the rice has cooked through or if there's enough water for the rice to cook. It's already parboiled, so it makes things a lot easier. I'm also checking on my ground beef, making sure it doesn't burn and it's getting nice and brown. And of course, add some more olive oil for good measure. One thing to note about this recipe is that it requires a lot of olive oil. In Greek, this type of dish is known as an oily dish or zalevero. So the olive oil really imparts a lot of flavor to the dish and makes it that much more delicious. Even the next day when you're having leftovers, this tastes even better. I added some grated romano into the rice, but feel free to leave this out. It's totally optional, and if you leave it out, it makes this dish to be completely vegan. Once the rice has cooked a little bit and softened up, you can start stuffing your peppers. So I chose to stuff just a few of the peppers with the rice mixture that I have on hand, and then I made the rest with the ground beef because my husband likes them with meat. And so I added the beef into the rice, mixed the whole thing, and started stuffing the rest of the peppers. Keep stuffing your peppers until they're more or less filled to the top. If you have any leftover rice, you can also just add it to the bottom of the pan itself. And this actually is my favorite part of the dish because the rice becomes nice and crusty and soft at the same time. And I feel, to me, it's the best part of the dish. And of course, I'm adding more olive oil. You really do need a lot of oil for this dish. Don't be scared of adding a lot of olive oil. It really makes such a difference and adds so much flavor. I added some water into my pot with the leftover rice and meat mixture and used that to pour over the peppers for some added moisture to help the rice cook in the oven. Place the stuffed peppers in an oven preheated at 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake them for 2 to 3 hours. You'll know the peppers are done when you start to see them soften up and they get wrinkly and brown and caramelized at the top.
So there you go, guys. This is how easy it is to do yemista. It's a long process, it's a labor of love, and my trick with making this a little bit more worth it is to make a bigger batch, and then you have leftovers for the next few days for lunch or for dinner. And actually this dish, because it has so much oil in it, the longer it sits in your fridge, so like the next day, it tastes even better. So I hope you guys give this a try, either the vegan version, vegetarian version, or with meat. And what you're really looking for is for them to really nice and charred. Everything's nicely cooked. All you gotta do is remember is lots of parsley, lots of mint, lots of oil. Don't be afraid of the oil, and really bake it until it's nice and crusty and the peppers or whatever your vegetables you're using and the rice are nice and crispy at the top. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you do, if you make it and you like it, please leave a comment down below, and feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you.